What's up, everybody? This is Robert Ferguson. Woo! Okay, we have a really interesting topic of discussion tonight. Now, for those of you who are here for the first time, I want to say welcome because we care, and that's why we share. Now, if you're new, please like, subscribe, comment, share it if you're on Facebook, because other people want to know the truth when it comes to intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Well, we're going to talk about one specific thing that everyone would benefit from knowing when it pertains to intermittent fasting. I'm not against it, and I'm not for it. And we're going to have a real conversation. And a lot of the negatives around intermittent fasting has to do more with your age. Now, if I met someone and they're 22 years old and they want to play with intermittent fasting, okay, I'll give a couple suggestions, which we're going to share. But if you're a woman, man, 55, 60 years old, you're going to do way more damage to yourself by doing intermittent fasting. And I know you're going, I know people who are that age, Robert, and older, and they're doing it and they look great. Well, we're going to talk about all of that. And joining me is my partner in crime, the one and only. There she is, Miss Lisa Marie.
Hey, Robert. Hi, everyone.
All right. So we got Lisa here. Good to see you, Lisa. And for those of you who are catching us today, we're both in a situation where we are like out and about, but we wanted to make sure we brought this to you guys live. And after we do this conversation, we're going to jump over to Telegram. The links are provided below. So just be okay with our photos today. So you can see Lisa has a good photo. Good photo, Lisa.
Thanks.
and we're gonna like go into it now. Lisa, any updates you want to share with anybody before we dive in? Like your website's there so people can reach out to you for coaching. Anything else?
Any updates? No, anybody, if you want to reach out, my website is there. I love to talk about health and wellness and the diet-free life. You can join us over on Telegram too. I love just having conversations with people.
Okay, well, we love having you there, Lisa. And for those of you, when you go to Telegram, that's where you can jump on if you want, or you can listen to the conversation. Other people will have things they want to bring up, and we can actually talk a little bit even more transparency without the concerns of getting kicked off of any of our social media platforms. So whether we're on YouTube, you're catching this, or you're catching it on Facebook, LinkedIn, when we go to Telegram, we can kind of share things that we wouldn't be able to share on those other platforms. So you want to come over. Okay. So Lisa, we're talking about intermittent fasting, and we're talking about it in a way that's going to shock some people. So to set things up, in your opinion, before we dive in, anything you want to share about intermittent fasting? Because I'm sure you see people, posting it. They talk about it. They're like, if you want to lose weight, there's doctors that are saying, hey, do intermittent fasting. I've heard a lot of doctors recommend intermittent fasting.
Yeah, me too. And I guess like that's the thing. The thing is that when I know that you can achieve results without the intermittent fasting.
Okay, and when you say results, Lisa, what are you talking about when you say results?
I'm talking about everything that comes with what I hear, even with intermittent fasting, right? So the weight loss or the fat loss, the reversing the insulin resistance and the diabetes, all of those things, the metabolic issues. You don't have to, I mean, you don't have to do intermittent fasting to do that, because we know that, I mean, people on the diet-free life methodology, right? They're eating all of the foods that they enjoy, without having to worry about intermittent fasting, and what time they're eating and how many hours they're fasting for. And I just think that there's just, and hey, if intermittent fasting is working for you, like, that's great. But I just think that there's things about intermittent fasting that, people don't have knowledge of, and that's why I think that this is a great show to just kind of share that so people are aware of it.
Okay, and we're gonna do that now. Because I get asked, and I've been asked. I was even on a national TV show called The Doctors, and they had me on there to debate intermittent fasting. And what I told them beforehand, and what I tell a lot of my friends who promote it, when I look at intermittent fasting, the people who do intermittent fasting, and I hope people don't take this the wrong way or be offended. And if they are offended, I'm open to having an open conversation about it. But the reason why they will promote intermittent fasting for weight loss, for helping a person bring their insulin levels down, helping people who are diabetic, the reason why they would recommend that is because they don't know how to eat, and they definitely don't know how to teach people how to eat. So when you don't know how to eat, the structure is, hey, just don't eat for this period of time, and when you do eat, keep it to this period of time. And then they call it intermittent fasting. So to me, it comes down to the ones who promote it, they don't know about the diet-free life methodology, which means they're ignorant when it comes to teaching and understanding nutrition. And I'm talking about how to eat to both lose weight and to improve metabolic health, cardiovascular health, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of, in my experience, some of the things that I had seen recently, and things that you have to watch out for, is that even like some of the doctors, right, that are promoting the intermittent fasting, type of way to lose weight, they have a program, and in some ways, it's like network marketing for doctors. There's money involved, and my problem with it is that what I've realized is that, and this is from experience working for a doctor that was going to start to do this, is that when you're doing that and you're bringing down, they're just teaching people to, okay, eat this and only 500 calories a day, and take these drops so that you're not hungry. But what happens at the end of that, right? If you didn't learn to eat before that intermittent fasting, what happens when you stop the intermittent fasting or you stop the supplements? You still don't know how to eat. You still haven't educated people on how to eat without that. So they're going to gain it all back. And then they're on that yo-yo diet. That's how I see it.
Okay. Well, again, at the end of the day, I'm always going to say, I don't care who it is. You don't know how to eat, and you definitely don't know how to teach people how to eat. So the easiest thing is to give people a prescription for intermittent fasting, because of your lack of knowledge and their lack of knowledge. They don't know any better, and it sounds great. So you got intermittent fasting. Now, let me just share that there's a ton of studies out there. We're going to share a few of them. You guys feel free to do a snapshot. This first study is just one study that kind of sets the foundation to the importance of skeletal muscle. We all will lose skeletal muscle as we mature in life. However, you want to minimize that, and you want to keep your muscle, because the loss of muscle is associated with maturing, looking older faster. It's associated with bone health. It's associated with increased risk of heart attack. It's associated with so many things. And if you go to your doctor, ask your doctor about sarcopenia, which is in Greek means vanishing flesh. So I wanted to set the foundation to the importance of skeletal muscle. If you got cancer and you lost a lot of skeletal muscle, which is something that happens to people when they go through chemo, then you have much higher risk of not being successful with the cancer. That means surviving. And you have that increased risk for heart attack, and a whole list of metabolic issues will come about because you've lost muscle. So it's important that we all know that skeletal muscle, which we all have, is very important for overall health. Okay, so we got that.
Good.
Then there's a whole bunch of studies out there. There's what they call meta-analysis, randomized clinical trials, where they look at a whole bunch of trials, and it's very clear that you have an increased likelihood of losing skeletal muscle when you do intermittent fasting. And we can, depending on the questions that you guys have, we can go into great detail. Now, here's a snapshot of just 5 pretty popular celebrities. And there's a whole bunch of celebrities out there mentioning in articles and in interviews where they do intermittent fasting. The black guy that you see right there, his name is Terry Crews. Terry Crews, when he takes his shirt off, he's known for just being in extremely good physical shape, as far as very low body fat, ton of muscle, former pro football player. And you have him talking about how he does intermittent fasting, right? And then you got Hugh Jackman, who's talking about how he does intermittent fasting. You know, Jimmy Kimmel has been around for a long time. Most people who've known him for a while, we remember him being overweight. And now you see him much leaner. And he talks about doing intermittent fasting. So there's a lot of people who look the part and they do intermittent fasting. And so that will be the bulk of the evidence, Lisa, that a lot of people will say, well, hell, have you seen Terry Crews? If it worked for him, it'll work for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Your thoughts on that?
I agree. You know, you show somebody that it's that visual perception of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you've seen somebody that was overweight and then they start talking about, hey, this is how I lost weight, and intermittent fasting or whatever it is, people cling to it.
Okay, so I'm going to take a shot at explaining the basics of intermittent fasting, and then you guys, we're going to share with you a study. It's the best study ever done that I've seen to date on the pros and cons of intermittent fasting. Is it helping you? Is it not helping you? Is it great for weight loss? And they did a randomized controlled trial, which is great. And it's pretty significant because 116 people participated, and it went for 12 weeks long. And they measured everything. I mean, literally, and I may repeat myself here, but I just want you guys to know where we're going. They measured everything from, did they lose weight? Did they see improvements with their fat mass, their lean mass, their fasting insulin, their fasting glucose? They even measured their hemoglobin A1C. They estimated energy intake. I mean, they went above and beyond. They even measured their resting energy expenditure. So very well done. The people who participated in this trial were both men and women between the ages of 18 and 64. Awesome. Now, before we share with you the details of what happened in the study, let me also just kind of bring clarity to what we mean by intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is also known as time-restricted eating. A large majority of people, when they do intermittent fasting, will only eat for an 8-hour period. So they will go 16 hours with no food. So a lot of people will go, they'll stop eating at 8 p.m. and then not eat again until 12 p.m. the next day. Now, there's some people who will eat 6 hours a day. And I've even heard people say 4 hours a day. So intermittent fasting in the study that we're going to share with you, okay, in this randomized controlled study, they had the people eat within an 8-hour period, and then they didn't eat anything except for, I think they gave them the chance you could have water, and you could drink black coffee, but you couldn't add anything to it, no creamer, and you didn't eat anything else. That was intermittent fasting. So does everybody feel good about like what intermittent fasting is? If you have a question about intermittent fasting before we share with you the study, now would be the time to do it. And Lisa, if you want to add anything to that, I'm all ears.
No, I'm listening. Did they with the study, did they gave them what to eat? Like they told them what to eat, or the study was they just ate what they were eating?
Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so you had two, it's a control group, and these are the best trials, right? So you really want to understand something, you got to do a randomized control trial, right? So that means you have one group where you control what they eat, and the other group you control what they eat, but you both of them have different guidelines. So the people who were in the intermittent fasting group, they didn't eat anything from 8 p.m. to 12 p.m. and they could eat whatever they wanted. They didn't give them any restrictions between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. The controlled group that got to eat, they had them eat 3 meals a day, and they snacked if they wanted. They didn't give them any guidelines on what to eat. They just had them eat normal way most people eat. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you want a snack, go for it.
Okay.
So that's what they did.
Thank you.
Again, it went for 12 weeks. You split it right down the middle out of 116 people. And I can tell everybody right now, if you only looked at the scale, both groups lost weight. Both groups lost weight. And they basically lost about the same weight. Outside of that, all of their markers, right? Fasting insulin, everything was the same. So whether you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or you feel starved and do intermittent fasting, for the most part, everything was the same except for one very important part. Drum roll. Now the study we're talking about, you guys can look it up. Okay, right there, you can look it up. And if you go to PubMed.com, or I think .com will take you there. If you scroll down on the left, you'll see where it says PMID. That's the citation number for the study. Or you could type in the whole title. But if you go to PubMed and you just type in 329-86097, then the study will come up and you can read it. And there was articles written about it. And you don't hear about this because people who promote intermittent fasting don't want you to know about this. Number one.
Right.
Okay. Now, in this study, they didn't just weigh them, right? They used a DEXA scan to check their body composition. Now, for you guys who don't know what a DEXA scan is, that is the gold standard to identifying what your weight is made up of. Like how much of your weight is muscle, how much of your weight is your organs, how much of your weight is water, how much of your weight is brown fat, white fat, beige fat. So, and you can't just go get a DEXA scan every month because radiation is involved. So you space it out. But they went gold standard, you guys, on establishing a baseline so they could then measure and see like what the outcomes would be. So I already said everything was the same. And this was done by the University of California, San Francisco, and the University of Hawaii Cancer Center. So this is what the outcome was. As I mentioned, both groups lost weight. They lost about 1% weight on average. So if they weighed 100 pounds, which no one weighed 100 pounds, that means they lost 1 pound. If they weighed 200 pounds, just following this, then they lost 2 pounds. Now, the intermittent group their weight loss was more fat-free mass. So now we're clumping in skeletal muscle. If you understand the importance of skeletal muscle, okay, fat-free mass, you don't want to lose skeletal muscle. That's how you get sick. That's how you shorten your lifespan. That's how you increase your risk for heart attack. That's how you set yourself up for total failure. That's how you slow how many calories you burn naturally when you lose skeletal muscle. And if you're over the age of 40, the last thing you want to lose is muscle. And if you look on one of the sites, one of the points there I have on the screen, 65% of the weight loss for the intermittent fasting group came from their lean mass.
That's a high percentage.
And the study showed back in January of 2023, in a paper that came out, a randomized placebo-controlled major study that took place over in Japan, or not Japan, but China, they demonstrated that if 8% of your weight comes from skeletal muscle, you increase your risk of heart attack by 300%.
Crazy.
So if you're doing intermittent fasting, you may be losing weight on the scale. It may look pretty good on the outside based on the clothes you're wearing, but you have done some major damage that you may not be able to fix on the inside.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else. I mean, anyone who does and I'll end on this, and then you can chat. And you guys, if you have questions, bring it, because there's a lot of people promoting intermittent fasting. They're all about it. I see doctor after doctor. There's a lot of experts doing it. And if they were to debate with myself and Lisa, they will lose every time, because it will come down to one thing. And let me preface by saying, if they have 100 people that lost 50 pounds, and we have 100 people that did diet-free life that lost 50 pounds, the difference is their people didn't eat for 16 hours, and our people ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can lose 50 pounds eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacking, why would you put yourself in a situation where you can only eat for 8 hours a day? Help me.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't understand it.
What would a person do if we put that in front of them? You know what I mean? Like, how could someone argue that?
Yeah, I really, that's like one thing, Robert, I just don't understand too, right? When you look at it like that, I don't know if it's just because it's like the thing to do. Everybody sees, I don't know, because why would you not want to, if you can lose that weight and you can eat meals, right, plus snacks, why would you essentially fast and starve yourself like that? I think, like, because they talk about like the metabolic type stuff that goes with it as well, like what I hear from people. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Now, right now, I had a couple people, because we're almost done, you guys, and then we're going to go over to Instagram. But I had a couple people say they didn't hear any sound. So I believe you guys can hear sound. So Dana, let me give a big shout out to Dana Domino. I hope I said that right. Sandy Silver says, what's up? Marilyn Outram says, what's up? Linda Jackson's in the house. Susan Moser did say hi. She said she wasn't getting sound. Sharon Gist, what's up? Darlene Corbett. So I'll stop there. I'm hoping everybody heard, because I think we had a really good sharing today.
I hope so.
And if we didn't, that would
we had a nice conversation.
Exactly. So the studies are there. So again, it's one of those things where I wouldn't even know where to begin, Lisa. Once you have the science, once you can see it clearly, all right, and here's a hypothetical crazy question for you. Why would someone not do diet-free life and choose intermittent fasting?
I don't know. I don't have the answer. I
I
really
have
don't.
I have one question. I have
Okay.
one answer.
Okay.
If someone said to me, Robert, I don't like to eat. I don't want any food. I don't want breakfast. I don't care about eating. But I will eat to live because they said I got to have a certain amount of nutrients in my body. So can I do intermittent fasting? And if I did, is there any negatives to it? Then I would say, well, let me share this study with you. You're what? How old are you? And she goes, I'm 58 years old. I said, okay. I need to educate you on the importance of skeletal muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And once you understand the relationship between skeletal muscle and your personal health and well-being, then I think you will realize it's not to your benefit to do intermittent fasting.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't like to eat. Okay, well, do you like to drink anything? Yeah, I could drink something. Okay, well, wake up in the morning and drink a Premier protein shake. Let's at least get some protein in your body because your body could use that while you're not eating. And then I would say, okay, then eat from 12 to 8. That would be my recommendation. And then make
Mm-hmm.
sure you're working out to keep your muscle.
Yep.
Okay. So now Sharon, thank you, Sharon, for posting this. Sharon says she could hear us. She says, I have a friend who has lost a lot of weight this way, but I'm not sure she looks healthy. Key words. Sharon's being very
Yeah.
nice. She does not look healthy, Sharon. She doesn't because she, guess what the weight, you said she lost a lot of weight. Where do you
Yeah.
think the weight came from, Sharon? Dun, dun,
Skeletal
dun.
muscle.
Poor lady. And she's 62 and she ain't, the likelihood of her getting that muscle back, Lord help her. I mean, I pray for her.
Well, that's like one question, right? I always ask when people say that, well, I lost all of this weight. Well, and I'll say, well, what kind of weight did you lose? And people don't understand what you mean when you ask, what do you mean? What kind of weight did I lose? Right? Because they're only looking at the scale.
Yep.
So it's important, especially for, as we get older, and women and men, but that what type of weight you're losing. Are you losing that muscle? Are you losing bone? Are you losing water? Like, what is it? What are you losing? And that scale isn't going to tell you that.
Unless you have one. It doesn't, I mean, because a lot
Yeah.
of we talk about body fat, but you're right. Most people are just running around happy that they lost the weight. So Sharon's friend is like, hey girl, I'm down 60 pounds. You should do what I'm doing. I don't know what you're doing, but that fat burning meal stuff ain't nothing like this. I'm down.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is that today there was one of my friends on Facebook. She posted, the scale is a liar. I'm like, it is, right? Like, because she didn't, she posted that she dropped clothes sizes. Let's say she dropped inches, but the number on the scale didn't change.
Oh man, look what Sharon just posted. She says this lady, she keeps it off when she overeats. She doesn't eat the next day.
See, that's because she didn't learn how to eat.
All right, so before we go over to Telegram, can I ask you guys a question to include you, Lisa?
Okay.
Based on what Sharon just said, is that person and I'm not trying to be rude, I'm literally asking you guys because I want to get better at my communication. So my question is this woman just stupid? Or do I call her ignorant? Or do I just how do you, because a big part of me would just go, depending on who she is, go, that's unfortunate, and I get why she's doing it, but she's pretty stupid. She's not a smart, she can't be a very intelligent woman. But then I've met a whole bunch of really accomplished people, judges and, deans and professors, and they're doing it. So it can't, maybe it's not intelligent. Like what do you call a person that's just this stupid?
I just think you just don't know what you don't know. And you kind of have to be careful who you're following, right? Like, I mean, who are you taking that advice from? Because if I scroll through my Facebook, I see a lot of people who are on different weight loss programs, doing different shakes and things like that. And if you're just having, one meal a day and two shakes a day, you're going to lose weight, right? But the question is, well, what kind of weight are you losing? Are you exercising while you're doing that intermittent fasting, right? Are you doing anything to support not losing that muscle? What are you eating? That was why I asked that with that study, right? Like, are they telling people what to eat? How are they making their meals? Um, those are all, like, those are questions I think that people should be asking, or, paying attention to, because you're always going to lose weight. If you're dropping calories, man, if you're only eating 500 calories a day, you're going to lose weight. Like, I guarantee you're going to lose weight. If you went from eating 1,500 calories a day to 500 calories a day, you are going to lose weight. I'm not going to argue with you, but what kind of weight are you losing?
Right. I'm with you.
Right?
Yep. And Sharon, because Sharon is posting some questions, and she's like, well, if my friend saw me being successful, then it would help. No, it wouldn't, Sharon. She's already, when someone buys into a lie, they will ride that until it's over.
Yeah.
Like, if someone bets on a horse $2 and it's a horse race, you're not going to change after you put the $2 down.
Yeah.
You're going to be, you're in. So when people do these diets, they can't really see anything other than what they've already bought into.
Exactly.
So God bless her, Sharon, but you may only piss her off if you share this video with her, because she don't want to hear this. She feels that she has discovered something that works for her. And if she goes to the doctor and they say, you have sarcopenia, and she goes, what's that? Well, it's when you lose skeletal muscle, and it's kind of like a precursor for a whole bunch of other problems. So we may want to get you doing some resistance training, and what's your nutrition like? And she go, I just lost 60 pounds. What are you talking about? Well, ma'am, you're predisposed now, for osteoporosis and a few other things. Now, when that happens, Sharon, and it will, based on her age, there's very little that she can do to change that.
Right.
And Sharon says she's a public speaker. Well, I don't care. I'm telling you the science. It's like, I'm sorry. Now, if she's outgoing, we could probably help her, like what Lisa said. We could show her the diet-free life way of eating, get her to exercise, and maybe we can save some of her muscle. And then Sharon says she does work out. Well, that probably helped her out if she does work out. Mm-hmm. She probably didn't lose as much skeletal muscle compared, because she did work out. But if you look at her and people are honest with her, come on, man. We all know what it looks like when you lose weight because you were in the hospital for 4 months, or you lose weight because you had, both legs broken, or you lose weight and you had to go through chemo. It's called atrophy. You lose muscle. When people were in concentration camps, they experience skeletal muscle loss. And the last muscle that they lose and then they die is called the heart. When a woman or man has anorexia and you see them dwindle down, they're like a walking skeleton, right? And it looks really, really, really bad. And they end up dying. What do you think caused them to die? Their heart stopped. The large majority of people who die because of anorexia is because their heart stopped. Why the heart? It's a muscle. Mm-hmm. So the skeletal muscle that helps you contract and put your Popeyes up, and flex, that's muscle. But the one that gets to live the longest when it's being deprived is the heart. And then it stops, and then you're dead. And if they take a woman that, let's say she weighs 70 pounds, and they do a DEXA scan on her after she dies of anorexia, she'll be like 50% body fat. Did you know that, Lisa?
No.
Yeah. 50% body fat, 5'3", 70 pounds. Because
Wow.
she's just fat and
That's the
skeleton
skinny fat, right?
to the extreme.
Yeah. That's what people don't understand too. I mean, that's a conversation we can also have those conversations on Telegram. But like, even with some of the clients that I work with who are diabetic, pre-diabetic, because they're also checking they're monitoring their glucose levels. They actually find that their glucose, they always tell me that like when they miss a meal or they skip a meal, their glucose is higher when they skip that meal, I've noticed.
Amen.
So, so that's the other part of it. When if you are, right, like, and if you start like intermittent fasting and you haven't, let's say, had like blood work done to know, like, are you diabetic? Are you pre-diabetic? And then you just go 16 hours of fasting. What is that doing? There's so many different aspects of it, like so many different things to consider. That's just not shared.
But if you learn how to eat, you don't even got to do all that crap.
Right.
All right. So tell them what we're doing, Lisa, because it's time to go over to Telegram.
All right. We're heading over to Telegram, Diet Free Life, over on Telegram. The link's right. You posted that below, Robert.
Yep. The link is there, you guys. If you're new to Telegram, come on over. So when they log in, what should they? I mean, I guess it takes them straight to us. So they just set up an account.
So they set up an account, and you'll be on the Diet Free Life Telegram channel, and you'll see at the top it'll say join. You're just going to press that join, and then we'll be able to have a conversation, like an actual two-way conversation, as opposed to it being typed on here. So we can answer questions, we can have deeper discussions.
Yeah, and then Sharon, you can talk. You can actually like talk, Sharon. We can have a and you can meet Hammer Girl, Lisa Marie, right here. Let's go.
All right, so we'll see you over there.
All right, you guys. Thank you for joining in. Please like, subscribe, all the things. Share what you can. We appreciate you. I'm gonna play a little video, and then we're going right over to Telegram. We'll see you over there.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.